If you're looking for the best deals on camera equipment, whether you're starting a YouTube channel or you're looking to create your own media company, or you're just looking to kind of just test the waters to see if content creation is for you, whether you're into cars, but we will focus on cars, then this live stream is for you. Because what we have up is actually going to be a few things. One of which will surprise you, because the first thing that I would say here is when it comes to media creation, most people think of the camera. First thing you have to get is the camera. Do I have to get a big, expensive camera? Yes and no. And we'll get into that. But for the most part, I would say yes, you have to spend a lot of money on a camera to have good quality. The general recommendation when it comes to this camera equipment is going to be, my personal recommendation is you have to spend at least $1,000. And the reason why I say that is because the thing in our pocket, our cell phone cameras, our cell phones in general are about $1,000. And so if you are not spending more than what your phone is worth, you might as well continue to create content, at least on the visual side of things, with your phone. So I would say, don't buy a camera, use your phone. The quality that comes out of most of these phones is really good nowadays. So if you're somebody who says, I don't need the most expensive phone, but I want to create content, I would say the best way to save money and get, have dual purpose is to get the flagship phone, whether it be, your Android or Apple. Get the big flagship phone. It's going to be about $1,000, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's still going to be cheaper than whatever camera you're going to get, whether you go Sony or if you do Blackmagic, if you do Canon, because Canon just released a new camera. No matter what camera that you get, your cell phone is going to be cheaper. And even if you're like, well, what if I get a budget one? The quality out of your phone is still going to be better. So that's one of the reasons why when we jump into this whole thing, you'll see that the camera that we're going to talk about, this is from last week, is not that important. Let's see if I can just delete this. Okay. Here we go. So what we have up here is the first thing. Let's see here. How come I can't? There we go. Question of, does the gear matter? Some of it does, some of it doesn't. Really depends on what type of content you want to create. For the most part, I'm going to say the camera doesn't matter as much now that we have our cell phones. One of the biggest things when it comes to automotive, especially when it comes to the DIYer space, is space. Can you get the camera in to the correct angle in order for you to show this bolt being loose and this part coming off? Especially when you're underneath the car and you have it on jack stands, you're working with a very limited amount of space here. So that's why I would recommend that most automotive content creators start off with their phone. One, you always have it on you. Two, the enhancement features, until you learn how to use the manual settings on a camera like this, are really good. It really kind of curves the learning aspect, or the common faults that people used to make, like when Peter McKinnon and Casey Neistat were really rolling them around with Canon 80Ds. Your phone is so much better nowadays. So that doesn't matter. So what would I recommend? And that would be lighting. When it comes to showcasing products, it doesn't matter if you're doing, cinematics, if you're doing DIYs, if you're doing vlogs, lighting is going to be key, especially when you're working with your cell phone or even a camera for the most part. And the great thing is, no matter what you spend on your lighting, it's always going to be transferable to your new camera setup. So the new camera that you get, whether it be from your phone, if you go from Canon to Sony, Sony to Canon, if you upgrade your Sonys, if you upgrade your Canons, all of your lighting can be repurposed with that. It's not like if you buy into a system like Canon or Sony, you buy the lenses, and then if you sell it to get another brand, You have to offload all of that glass now because the lenses are directly adapted to that body. Lighting is not. So this is one thing in terms of investment that will pay off in the long run, and you will definitely see a return of investment. Good lighting, if you purchase it just right, you don't have to purchase again the next time you get a camera. It's going to last you for a long time. And so I have some of this lighting recommendations and everything else that we're going to cover in this video in the links in the description. But this is, I generally, because there's a little bit of shift when we're talking about lighting, ideally we want to shift in daylight. So 5600K. The problem with it is that green magenta, it can shift from brand to brand. So I usually recommend, because the LED technology within the brand usually is consistent, so you don't really have to account for that green magenta shift in most cases. Sometimes you get lucky, and for the most part, I went through kind of like the hard part of, is there a big green magenta shift with this brand to this brand, or at least this lighting fixture of this brand to this one? And everything that I have linked down in the description, all of those are within a close enough range that if you set your camera to 5600 Kelvin, you won't have to adjust. So any of these lights that you have here, you can pick and choose which one you want. You can mix and match, and you don't have to adjust the green or magenta. In post, in camera, it's gonna look the same. You set it to 5600 and then you just do your own color grading. It's gonna look fine. So everything in the description is going to match, but if you're still unsure after that, like if you wanted a certain fixture that is not recommended, then I would say do your best to try to stay within the brand that you're mostly in. That way you don't have to worry about that shifting color later on. So lighting is important. No matter what you do, lighting is going to be important. You can't have enough light. Like, I do have these RGBs right here, and these are great. These are what I would say extra credit. This is the stuff that you don't need to get. It would be great if you can, but if you can't, the thing that you should prioritize is daylight. You could always get it to have a better separation from the background. You can get it to better light your product. You can, if people want the blurry background, but you still want a well-lit item, this is how you do it. The second most important thing is tripods, but tripods are actually what inspired this video today, because I found a really great place where you can get deals on like tripods, video heads, and other gear like that. So we're going to save that for the end. But in terms of importance, just know that tripods do come second. But just because we're going to, leapfrog from that into the end of this, we're going to save it for the end. Next up is going to be microphones. My personal choice is Rode, because they come with like a 10-year warranty on most of their products. I used to use a shotgun microphone a lot, but in terms of, I would say like ease of use and portability, I tend to like the Rode Wireless Pro more. Plus, it comes with the lav kit and everything. I would say any instance, you can use the Rode Wireless Pro. You cannot always use a shotgun microphone. And so if you were to pick one or the other, I used to recommend the shotgun before Rode came out with their 32-bit float in the Wireless Pro. So those of you who plan to do a lot of recording for exhaust, this is going to be super important for you, because if you record in 32-bit float, it's going to be almost impossible for you to clip the sound of the exhaust. So this is where a lot of people say, the exhaust, it didn't sound good. It doesn't sound, how it sounds in person isn't how it sounded online. And that's because the audio settings probably weren't set. If you hear the exhaust and you hear that really loud screeching sound, it's almost like your speakers are going to blow out. Even if your speaker setting is low, it's because the person who recorded it set their microphone level too high, and they weren't able to record the proper data to exhibit what the exhaust truly sounds like. And so that's why I would recommend the Wireless Pro, because it's going to serve you better. You can always clip it on and talk. Yes, it can be a little bit cumbersome because it's physically on you versus the shotgun where it's on the camera. However, if you're trying to get the camera into a tighter place, you could put the windscreen on the Wireless Pro and it's still a smaller profile on your camera. So it's more portable in terms of you don't have to have it on the camera, but if you do, it's even more portable than the shotgun microphone. So I would say Wireless Pro first, the lav kit first. It has that warranty. It has a 32-bit float. It comes with the lavalier microphones. It's a really good kit for what you're getting. And then if you want more, get the shotgun microphone. Now for the camera, I do have a few recommendations. APS-C is usually cheaper. However, Sony is blowing the market like out of the water right now. The recommendation that I have is the FX30. And I shifted away from the A7C because it's 8-bit. When it comes to video editing, you really want 10-bit color. It gives you a lot more flexibility to adjust. Say, for example, we're talking about lighting. If you had to compensate for that green magenta shift, if you were working on your car and you had it set to auto white balance and it's a sunny day, and then all of a sudden the clouds roll through, your white balance is going to shift. And then you're going to have to adjust that in post if you want it to look good. So that's why you want 10-bit color, because otherwise your footage is going to break down. It's going to have all those little artifacts and all those little fuzzies in the video if you don't have 10-bit float and you adjust the colors too much. So that's why I would say is I think it's about $1,500 or $1,600. You could get the FX30. I would recommend, if you can, get it used, get it secondhand, open box, or whatever it is. A lot of these places that like Amazon, Adorama, B&H, even if they give you a camera secondhand, there's usually a warranty that you could slap onto that. Now, if you want to go full frame and you don't need the best low light performance, down below I have recommended the A7 IV, and it's only $500 cheaper. Like I said, is if you're not spending $1,000 on a camera, don't get a camera. You need to spend at least $1,000 on a camera because the device in your pocket is already worth $1,000. So if you're not spending at least this, continue to use your phone. That's the best recommendation I can give to people is don't spend money on a camera unless it's more than what your phone is worth. Because for the most part, in terms of smartphone technology, most of that technology goes into the camera. If you don't believe me, the next time you watch a cell phone commercial or an ad, what do they advertise the most? They almost never advertise like how fast the phone is. Maybe they advertise how slim it is. Maybe they advertise the screen size. Somewhere along that line, they introduce the camera. Sometimes the ad is just the camera. I've almost never seen an ad for a cell phone where they only talk about how big the screen is, how slim the phone is. They never even really talk about how fast the phone is. I've noticed that anymore. Like, unless you do YouTube reviews, they don't talk about how fast the phone is. They talk about the camera. There's always like a section in a YouTube video, how good is the camera? Some of these YouTube videos, they just compare the cameras of the phone. So that's why save your money, get the flagship phone, use that, and then once you're ready, drop the money on a body like the FX30, the A7 IV, or in my case, because I want the best low light and slow motion, I lean towards the A7S III. Or the equivalent is going to be the FX3, whichever one you prefer. At that point, you're just kind of comparing body styles. That would be my recommendation. And then because it's not just the camera that you're getting, you have to get the camera, you have to get the lens, and then you have to get the memory cards that you see here. And these memory cards, they're well north of $100 a pop, depending on how big you get. Then you have to get the lens. That's almost $1,000. Some of the lenses are more expensive than the bodies. In this case, you can go with the Sigma. I have the Sigma listed below, as well as the Sony 16 to 35 or 16 to 25, depending on what you need. And then I have like the equivalents for the APS-C section. In my opinion, you're so close in price already. Just save it, save up a little bit longer. Save up a little bit more. Don't go into debt, but save up a little bit more and go full frame. You will never regret full frame. It's better low light performance. You have a better range, and better range in terms of like you can get closer to the subject. Like if you're limited to a garage like I am, you don't have to back up as much. If you're working underneath the car, you don't have to back up as much. You don't have to lift the car up as much. Full frame just gives you better workability as you're recording, but also in the post-production side of things. The other good thing too, though, about APS-C, if you're really married to that idea, is that you could take any full frame lens and put it onto an APS-C body and it will work. You can't necessarily do it the other way around. Now, for the inspiration of our video, it's tripods. So down below, I think one of the first links that I have is the link to this person's page on eBay. And he's got these tripods that are like $70. For some reason, there's not a lot of information about Leofoto tripods on YouTube. However, from all the research that I've done, Leofoto, it seems like they're getting the same manufacturer for some of their tripods, like the flip lock tripods. That technology seems to be the same one as iFootage. So you could watch iFootage reviews and directly correlate that to the flip locks of the Leofotos. And in that respect, they're going to perform pretty much just the same way, because the flip lock lever and all that stuff, and even the bag is the same. The only thing that's different is, the stamping of the brand, and the color is blue versus red. There's a few features on there that are unique to each manufacturer, but it's so close. I think it's kind of like tools. Like the new Quinn ratchets are pretty much the Gear Wrench 90T. It's the same thing. The Leofotos, I think, are going to be very close to, I forget the brand off the top of my head, Really Right Gear. And so this person has really good deals right now, and I actually purchased a couple of them. So if we look on his page right now, let's see here. Let's see what kind of sales he's got going on right now. So up to 50% off. You have these tripods. 50% off, 60% off, 62% off, 60% off. The one that I got, the one that I really like, maybe sold out. I mean, it's a really good deal. I prefer to have something with the center column, so I actually bought this one. Oh, the price went up a little bit. I bought it when it was like $240. So this is really good. This thing, it shrinks down to like less than 2 feet. It's like 20 something inches. And then it goes up to like over 6 feet, especially when you put your video head on there. Having the sections isn't great for stability, but it's really good because you can get it right to where you want. Sometimes it's hard to level out the legs, the less sections they are. So you have to rely on something to level your tripod head. But when you can increase the height in more stages, it's better, I think, for car content. So I picked up this exact tripod. You can see that I did buy it. But the other thing too is the reason why I'm recommending Leofoto, even though I used to use iPhone, and I still do. In fact, I wish that Leofoto kept on using those lever leg locks instead of the twist locks. Again, it's a preference thing. Twist locks are great for travel. It's also great for if you have to be right up on the car, because the rubberized twist locks aren't going to scratch the car. So there are pros and cons, but I just prefer the ease of use, the quickness of lever locks. And for the most part, I never have to be really up on my car to really worry about them scratching. And I don't travel that much. So it really depends on how you film, what your style is, if you want lever locks or this one. So there was another one that I bought from him actually not too long ago. It's not this one, but these are the lever locks that I was mentioning earlier. So these lever locks, they have their own unique twist to it, right? But their feet, oh no, those are different. Those aren't their feet, I don't think that's it. But it's very similar to the iFootage one. So if you've ever looked at iFootage tripod reviews, which are all over the place on YouTube, they pretty much are in alignment with this style of tripod from Leofoto. Now, the great thing about Leofoto is if we look at their page, let's see here. So I have it screenshotted here, is since May of this year, everything is subject to a lifetime warranty, unless you bought it beforehand and you do have that 10-year warranty. So if you don't believe me, we can go into support, warranty registration. Effective May 1st, all purchases of tripods and heads will be eligible for a lifetime warranty, while other accessories will be covered under a 10-year warranty. Products before this date come with a limited 10-year warranty. Now, and the great thing is you don't have to get it directly from the website. You can get it from official stores. So directly from the website, Leophoto USA. You can also get it from Leophoto USA on Amazon, Leophoto USA at Walmart, or eBay. Leophoto USA on eBay. And the reason why this is so important is because of the previous page that I just skipped, is this button, the make offer button on eBay. I'm going to try to pull it up now. Is you can offer them something, and you can see here is they have this video head listed at $230. I made an offer at $180. They accepted it. There were other things where it was like, like $35. I offered $30. They took it. $40. I offered them $30. They took it. So little things like that, they did accept. Don't send something reasonable like $2, but you can get a good deal on this stuff and still have that lifetime warranty. So that was one example. And so this is their official store, their Leophoto eBay store. So this is the video head that I was just showing you earlier that I offered them. I got this. It's an extension. And then even, oh geez, that's even cheaper now. Okay. It was $39. I offered them $30 and they took it at the time. So I would just say is if you're looking to create content, see what's available. Open box 182. Hello. Okay, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity at this one because I just got one. But if one of you guys don't take this, I'm going to scoop this up, and there's a make offer button on there. So I'm going to make my own offer. And I can tell you guys what that is so you guys can outbid me. But I'm going for that one. Anyways, that's what inspired all of this. Also, there was a comment from a while ago. Somebody asked me if I could make an updated list from before. So I updated the camera specs because with how close in prices 8-bit color cameras are to 10-bit colors from Sony, I recommend just doing that. And for whatever reason, it seems like Sony, yes, like their camera line in terms of like this camera should be better than this one is kind of funky. Like it's not so linear. Like, some of their newer, cheaper cameras have better features than mine, even though mine is considered a flagship of its category. Other companies, they're not so willing to do it. Like Nikon is mostly photography. Blackmagic, they don't have autofocus. Canon, they want to really cater to professionals. Like they don't want to cater to YouTubers. They don't want to they don't want to curate their stuff for, whatever it is. It's like working professionals. But even then, some of their features, like Gerald Undone just did a review on like their newest flagship camera, and it has weird features. Like the camera shuts off if you open the memory card slot. Like right now, I have my camera hooked up. Some of the bays are open for the ports to connect for the live stream. My battery door thing is open because I have a continuous battery power to it. I could open my SD slots right now. Like none of those wonky things happen with Sony. They were so eager to jump into the market to give 120 frames per second, to give better low light performance, to offer all of that. And it's an expensive camera, but relative to what was available at the time, an affordable price point. Canon straight up said, no, we don't want to offer that stuff. And even to this day, they still do weird things. Like Sony is who you should go for and who I would recommend if you're looking to get into content. And like I said, is if you guys don't hop on stuff like this, I'm more than happy to take it. Yeah, hold on, there's 2 available. Okay, so there's enough for one of you guys out there and one for me. Perfect. I just really think that if you're ready to get into this, do it. Give it a shot. Use your phone. Get some lighting, and you can get a half decent microphone. Once you're ready to commit, go ahead, get the camera, jump on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, get this stuff used. I just really wanted the A7S III when it happened, so I pre-ordered it, but I got a second one off of Facebook Marketplace. Most of my lighting, the ones that I recommended, I got used. Like, like when Amazon says, used, good, like new, whatever. I almost never buy any brand new equipment other than the filters that I have on my camera. If it says like open box or like new, then I'll take the chance on it. Memory cards 50-50. Like, the good thing is with Amazon returns, like, you could buy it used, and if it doesn't work, I would say, don't abuse it, but kind of, format it, run it through its paces, do a couple of films or whatever, see if it's operating at the speeds that it's supposed to, and then if it is, keep it. If not, return it. Say it's not working as advertised, right? And that's how you save money on it. I would say, like, I've saved so much money by just getting used equipment, whether it be on Facebook Marketplace or not, or Amazon. B&H does it too. Adorama does it too. eBay does it too. So the market is available for us to take advantage of it, and I fully support it. I fully support, whether the video that you want to make has already been made, make another one. Don't do it the exact same way. Get it from a slightly different camera angle, especially for DIYers, because somebody who's looking to do this job is getting every perspective they can before they take on that task. So with that, I hope that was all helpful for you. I hope that kind of gave you some insight to where I get my gear and makes things a little bit more for you and less intimidating in terms of, do I need to buy, $1 million worth of equipment? The answer is no. Lighting is very cheap, and it gives you a huge return of investment. That would be what I would say where you should start. So with that, let's jump it into, actually, you know what? There's one more thing is, I want to apologize for coming in a little late today. I didn't realize that technically it's like a Monday because yesterday was a holiday. So there's a little bit of catching up, but thanks to all of you. I do want to say thank you because I got offered, I don't know what's going to happen yet, but to be part of the creator community. So basically it's like I get an account manager basically, and a little bit more back-end support with YouTube. And I couldn't have done it without all of you. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's kind of, been part of this journey, helped the channel grow, given the support, asked the questions to help me learn if I don't know, and then, give me the opportunity to share the knowledge that I have. So thank you, everybody who put me in the position that I'm in. And it's not just me, it's because all of you have been supporting me along the way. So I do want to say thank you very, very much to all of you. And now we can open it up for Q&A. So first up here, sorry, I don't know how to say your username, but I'm going to call you E if you don't mind. Hello, I'm going to buy an M235i with 136,000 miles on it. What do you think about it? The N55 is pretty reliable. It shouldn't be an issue so long as you have service records, or if the car checks out on the pre-service inspection, it should be fine. With the N55, I'm going to give a suggestion in terms of, I don't want to leave that because I want that now. Let me see here. And a 55. Share. Let's say start off there. And then with all maintenance papers, 2 owners, and turbo wastegate, crankshaft, pulley, harmonic balancer replaced, I'd be looking for quite a bit more than the amount we talked about before. Let's see here. So, oh my goodness. Okay. So it looks like the market's around 25 to 30 or 20 to 30K, depending on the condition of it. Just looking at this right now. It depends. I would say you're also going to have to look at the market for the 240i, and that's going to be the cap, because this is supposedly the better engine. It's the upgraded model for it. So nothing in the 30. So the 240 is, very solidly placed in the $25,000 to $30,000 market. So I would say don't pay $30,000 for a 235. If you can get it for 20, it's okay. At that mileage, I would see if you can get it a little less than that. Let's see here. Turbo, wastegate, crankshaft, pulley, harmonic balancer. Replaced 2 weeks ago. I'd be looking for quite a... it's the same thing. Let's see here. Hey man, I'm open to that. I just put 6,000 into it to get the turbo, wastegate, crankshaft, pulley, harmonic balancer replaced. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, none of those items are what I would consider upgrades. They're part of routine maintenance. So it's not like if you're selling the car, you can put it on there as a reassurance to the buyer that the car is going to run. You can't really use those items as a way of increasing the price, because it's expected that those parts will work. Now, for example, turbo, wastegate, that's supposed to work. Crankshaft pulley, supposed to work. Harmonic balancer. Now, if you put like a seal guard in there when you did the harmonic balancer, that's fine. The belt, same thing. But all of these items are expected to work when you buy them. It's if they fail, you can lower the price. You can't really raise your price because you did these things. It's not like you put on an aftermarket exhaust, an intake, you did suspension. That can increase the price of the car. See here, Wamix. Do you have to have MBT Evo to be able to get iDrive 6 Flash, or can you do it with a regular MBT? I don't know. I've never really done it. The last time I checked there wasn't that much information out there. The only people that I've really seen been able to really, really do it is going to be, at the time, yes, MBT, but people are messing around with the system all the time, and that was a long time ago that I researched it. So it seemed like 2016 models and up were able to do it, or 2017, depending on what model and series you're in. And really only BeamerTech and this other person was able to really do it. But it requires, like, you have to replace not just the head unit, but you also have to replace, not just the screen, but the actual head unit. And then flash, match it to the VIN, all that thing. It's a really extensive process. And that's why BeamerTech charges a lot for it, not just because of the parts that are involved, because they're honestly just using secondhand parts. They're probably getting the parts from like junkyard or eBay or whatever, and then they're loading it up with whatever they need to load it up with. They're not paying brand new for those parts. One, because BMW is probably not producing them anymore. And like BMW is not really, like, they kind of want to get rid of that, right? They don't want that stock anymore, because it's not like, when it comes to cars, you would probably want some old shocks and springs around, because those parts can go bad. And when the car comes in, you service it, you put it on. When somebody trades in the car, you will want to replace those components. The head unit, it never really goes bad. So BMW is not really going to want those parts taking up space in the warehouse. So they're going to want to get rid of that stuff. Sure, they're going to charge the BMW tax, but it's not going to be like when the car was like still the current model. And maybe they will use it in case something goes bad. Maybe they will use it if somebody wants to upgrade. So it's really because not that many people have been able to do it just yet. Yes, it has all maintenance records, but the last 4 oil changes were every 10 to 11. That's fine. I mean, full synthetic, they say like you can get away with it. BMW says it too. People say it's a marketing gimmick, but it's like, it really depends. It mostly really depends on not just, it really depends on the driving conditions. So like the cleaner air that they're in, the more okay it is. The cleaner the gas they're using, the better it is. The more highway miles they're using, the better it is. You know, the less they beat on the car, the better it is. And some people will say like it's a marketing thing so that BMW could have you bring your car back in for more services so they can get more money from you. And my counter argument to that is liquid moly is not the official oil for BMW. They are approved for BMW cars. You can use them in BMW cars, but liquid moly is not the official oil for BMW. And yet they say every 10,000 miles. If it was a marketing gimmick, if it was a way for companies to get more money, why would liquid moly say 10,000? They would say 5,000 so that you do more oil changes so they get more money. Why would they do that? That's my counter argument to that. Let's see here. What else do we have? Hey, Hyde, how's it going? How's the house going? Let's see here. Oh, wrong message. No worries, no worries. I'm going to get it for 13,000 from the guy. That's not a bad price. That is not a bad price because I've seen yeah, see 328. So this is the N20 or N26. Look right here, 14,000, 10,000, and this is a 4-cylinder engine. Take that and run. If you have all the maintenance and the car runs fine, take it and run. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, 30,000 for 136,000 mile N50. Oh, the M235i is N55. N54, I wouldn't either. It requires a lot more work because of the walnut blasting that you have to do. Yep, same thing. N54 and N55, Hyde, you and I are on the same page. Let's see here. Yellowberries. Pernambeck, I texted to you your Instagram. I can send pictures to get the last approval before buying. If you want. It sounds like the car's in good enough shape. I mean, unless there's like some really weird dings, unless there's some body panels that don't line up, then it should be okay, especially if you know the guy. See here. Oh, and Jonathan has the answer for us. You need MBT Evo to get the iDrive 6 Flash. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Yep, so it looks like no one's been able to really crack the code since I've been researching it. So that's like at least 2 years ago. Hopefully somebody will, or hopefully the price comes down. Hopefully BeamerTech will get tired of holding those units, or some of these other vendors will get tired of holding those units. They'll drop the price and becomes more accessible to all of us. But the thing is now it's like, do you really need iDrive 6, or are you just looking to have better compatibility with your smartphone? Are you looking to have GPS on your screen? If so, I just recommend just upgrading the screen and having the Android capabilities in your head unit itself. Hyde. Yeah, talking about oil, now that I have freshly built your, oh yeah, that's right, you were rebuilding the N20. I will use 540 Valvoline for daily and VR1 1040 or 1050 for track. Yeah, it's not bad. Especially the way that you built it too. So that's yeah, see, so it really depends on the use, right? It really depends on the condition, right? Because the car is going to be running hotter in Hyde's case, he can use a thicker oil because it's going to be running hotter, so it's going to be thinner. So that's why, and it's just a small bump to 10. But during daily driving, it's not really going to get that hot. And so 5 is fine. That's usually what they recommend for the early N20s before they started going to 0 weight. And then, 40, once you get to, those operating temps is what you really want. So, yo, berries. Yep, no problem. Happy to help. Jonathan, I think it's a hardware limitation and you need an Evo. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because they do send out the head unit. But that's why I recommend just getting an upgraded screen with an Android component so that you can get, GPS and all that other stuff on there. That would be my personal recommendation. Versus, and let's see here. Okay, $250, $500, $279 versus so anyway, let's round it up to say 300 to 600 versus, and this isn't going to be cheap, I'm telling you that right now. 1750. Is it worth it? Right? They're going to give you a new, they're going to give you all of this. Is it worth it to have all of that? And my answer is no. Right? I mean, I've partnered with Gamertech. I mean, if you absolutely have to have it, then this is probably the only way to really do it. I would just get an upgraded screen, in all honesty. Yo, berries. Does N55 on M235i have any rod bearing issues? Not really. Unless you really beat on the car, you don't do the oil changes, you let it run dry, it's usually okay. And how much does it cost to upgrade to S55 oil valve? I would say just go on eBay and find it used. The oil drain pan, if you're looking to do that conversion. Like looking at an oil drain pan, like they hardly ever really go bad. The baffle there is a mechanical thing. It's not really an electronic thing. So it's also hard to mess that up. It's more so based off the design. So if you want to do that, I would say just grab a used one. Wasn't cheap, but I want... Ooh, Jonathan, you actually did it. Gamertech is over... Yeah. I feel that it is. It is overpriced. You're really paying for the customer service. A lot of their stuff you can get on any like Amazon or eBay vendor. It's really the customer service that you're getting, or I should say that you're paying for. Better packaging, maybe. Other than that, yeah. So, get the customer service, it's really what you're paying for. They give you a warranty. Beamer World sells an upgraded S55 oil pump upgrade kit for the N55. Let's look at that then. Oh, here we go. This is what you're talking about. Okay. Here it is. Let's see. Oh, let's go back. You could do this. Let's see. $16.49. $740. $679. It's effectively going to do the same thing. If you're not really tracking your car, you don't need either. Flat out. If you're not tracking your car, you don't need either. Now, I will say if say you do an oil change, you bought an N55, you did an oil change, and whoever did the oil change before stripped out the threads. Repair it if you can. If you can't, if there's damage there and it's beyond repair, like you can't tap it, you can't put in an insert. If there's a hole in your oil pan, do not get another N55 oil pan. Just replace it with an S55 one. That's what I would recommend. I don't know. Like for me, it's hard to justify it if you're not tracking the car. Now, even I would say like, even if you have a leak, I would replace it with the S55 one because that pan's coming out anyways. I would say drop it, get an S55 used, throw it up there, and then if you can, sell your N55 one to make up for some of it. It's a lot. I couldn't do it. I don't track my car either. So that's the other difference. That is how you would bulletproof your N55 from oil starvation, right? S55 old, yep. So that's the other thing is you can do all this. You're gonna still need the pan, but you could just skip this and just do the pan. If you don't track your car, you're never really going to have this problem. Even some N55s that track don't run into this problem. It's like it has to be the perfect storm. Say, for example, you put in just the right amount of oil. Like I think it's like 6.7, right? So say you put in 6.7, you don't put it to 7, right? And, you know, most of us, because that's how we just get the oil, we just go to 7, right? 0.3 is not going to matter, right? But let's just say you do it to 0.7 and maybe you burned off a little bit of oil and you hit those lateral Gs just right for just the longest period of time or just the right amount of time. Then you'll have oil starvation. Like the N55 has to be the perfect storm for you to have oil starvation for it to really cause issue. It's going to be almost impossible for you to get that on the street. Because for the most part, you're not going fast enough, and there's usually not enough leeway in terms of turns, corners, bends for you to get that. Like you could always say, oh yeah, I know this canyon road, but you're not taking that canyon road to work for the most part, right? That's like somewhere up in the hills, an abandoned part of the way. And then even some of those roads, like even if the road is long enough, if it's empty enough, if you can get enough speed there, here in California, those roads aren't well kept. So you're not going fast enough because they're cracked all over the place. So even in that respect, you're not going to be able to get it to the point of oil starvation. Thank you. I've owned only E36, E34, and E40. No worries, man. We're happy to have you here. We are happy to have you here. And if we can have you learn from our mistakes, or you can borrow some of our research time so that you're not wasting money, you know, have at it. You know, by us sharing the information, everybody benefits. And so the only thing that we'd ask is when somebody's ready to ask the questions, that you help pass on the information. Jonathan, high G's when turning left is what causes starvation from my research. Okay. High prolonged G's. Yeah. See, like even that, like you might have one good bend somewhere in the canyon that could get that, but you're not going to like swing it. It's almost never going to happen. Almost never on the street. This is pretty much a track related issue for the most part. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. If you are really beaten on the car, you're tracking your car that much, go ahead, do this, and then get the pan. Otherwise, you can just get the pan whenever you have a leak. When I visited my friend in Marin, the canyon/mountain roads were freshly paved and smooth as. Lucky you. Okay. All right. So I guess in Marin is where it's at. That almost never happens. There was like one that I used to commute to for work. Man, that thing was so bad. And the thing is, like with canyon roads, a lot of times there are trees, and the tree roots go underneath the ground and make it all like bumpy. So even if the road is good, it's not good. That is an exception, I think. It's good that they just paved it. In California, it's like California and nice roads almost don't go together. So that's a whole nother gripe for another day, another stream. So hopefully, like I said, is you guys got enough information for you to start your YouTube journey, your content creation journey, or maybe you're looking to become a professional, whatever it is. Hopefully this gave you some insight to where you can get some good affordable gear where it has a lifetime warranty, like we were talking about earlier. And then, we got into some stuff about the N55 specifically, some stuff about oil for the N20. So hopefully all of this stuff was a good resource for you. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help out. So with that, I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great week. And I look forward to seeing all of you next Tuesday.